Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder, the place where we decode the language of big business. Today we're diving into Uwharrie Capital Corp's proxy statement. It's not exactly a thriller novel, but stick with me. There are some interesting tidbits about who's running the show and where the money's going. Think of it like a sneak peek into the company's yearbook with a sprinkle of financial drama. This document is a Schedule 14A, also known as a proxy statement. Basically, it's information Uwharrie Capital sends to its shareholders so they can make informed decisions when voting on important company matters. It's like a cheat sheet before the big corporate exam. First up, the annual meeting is happening on May 20, 2025. Shareholders get to vote on electing directors and also to say whether they agree with the company's choice of accounting firm. It's like choosing your favorite flavor of democracy. And in a modern twist, it's a virtual meeting, which means everyone can participate from the comfort of their own home. The proxy materials were first made available around April 10, 2025. If you're a shareholder, you can find all the details online. If you can't make it to the virtual meeting, don't worry, you can still vote by proxy. That means you appoint someone else to vote on your behalf. It's like sending a very organized friend to class to take notes for you. For the election of directors, the 5 people with the most votes win. For the accounting firm ratification, it's a simple majority, more votes in favour than against. Withhold votes, abstentions and broken non-votes can affect whether a quorum is present, but they don't really change the outcome of the vote. Let's look at who owns the most stock. As of April 6, 2025, no one except Roger L. Dick owned more than 5% of the company's common stock. He owned 5.566% of the company's shares, putting him in a significant position. The proxy statement then goes on to list how much stock each director nominee and executive officers as a group beneficially owned 11.45% of the company's common stock on such date. Moving on, we have the election of directors. Shareholders will be voting on 5 nominees for 3-year terms. These are the people who will be helping to steer the company. The nominees include Erin Bates, an attorney, Vanessa Chambers, a community outreach advocate, Cynthia Hanson, a real estate owner, Chris Poplin, a chief investment officer, and Vernon Russell, another attorney. There are 9 other directors whose terms continue after this meeting. This includes people from various backgrounds such as Merlin Amatharaj from education and technology, Mary Clodder, who works in financial planning, and Matthew McCauley in real estate executive search. It seems like Uwharrie values a diverse board, at least in terms of professional backgrounds. The company says that most of its directors are independent according to NASDAQ standards. However, a few have relationships with the bank that might make them not independent under stricter SEC rules. It sounds like the board uses NASDAQ's definition of independence in determining whether or not a director or nominee for director is independent. What do the directors get paid? In 2024, each director got $725 for each board meeting they attended and $100 for committee meetings. Audit committee members got extra with $500 per meeting, plus an extra $100 per hour if the meeting ran long. They also got an annual retainer paid partly in cash and partly in company stock. So their interests are aligned with the shareholders, at least a little bit. Looking at the director compensation table, Vernon A. Russell made $21,695, with Todd Swearingen making $22,125. So commuting ran long $60.95, with Todd Swearingen making $22,105 if the meeting ran long. They also got an annual retainer, paid partly in cash and partly in company stock. So their interests are aligned with the shareholders, at least a little bit. Looking at the director compensation table, Vernon A. Russell made $21,695. Now let's talk about the top dogs. The executive officers include Heather Almond, the chief financial officer, Jason Andrew, the chief operations officer, David Beaver, the chief risk officer and president of the bank, and Roger Dick, the president and CEO of the whole shebang. They are the ones making day-to-day business decisions. And of course the big question, how much do these executives make? This section gives us the details on what the top executives were paid. Looking at Roger Dick, the CEO, in 2026. He got a bonus of $155,000 and his total compensation was $712,034. For David Beaver, the chief risk officer, his salary was $292,000 and total compensation was $500,092,000. And total compensation was $500 in 1993. Now this is what people want to see. Here's the pay versus performance section, and it's always interesting. In 2024, the CEO's summary compensation was $71,12,034.34, with compensation actually paid matching that amount. The average for other named executive officers was $617,269. Executive pay went up $29, investment $9.49, 20 to 2024. The CEO's pay went up by about 6.8%, and the other executives' pay went up 24. The CEO's pay went up by about 6.8%, and the other executives' pay went up $24. The CEO's pay went up by about 6.8%, and the other executives' pay went up $24,000. And the net income of the company was around $9.9 million, comparing 2020-23 to the same time period. Time to talk about the accounting firm. The audit committee wants shareholders to approve their choice of Forvis Mazars LLT as the company's independent accounting firm for 2025. The big reason to care is that the independent auditor, so shareholders can trust them. In 2024, audit fees were $313 and $215 and $215 and $93. In 2023, audit fees were $369,241 and tax fees were $32,741 and tax fees were $32,734. This is how much the company is paying to keep its books in order. Scroll out report shafted catcher traps of the audit committee toe. Of the audit committee scroll, the audit committee is responsible for making sure the company's accounting is on the up and up. They review the financial statements with management and the independent auditors. They also talk about the auditor's independence. Finally, the board says they don't know any other business that's coming before the annual meeting, but if something pops up, they are authorized to vote on it. So what's the story here? Assessing the company direction. Uwharrie Capital seems to be moving in a stable direction. They've got a diverse board and a focus on internal controls. But the fact that executive compensation went up while shareholder returns decreased is a bit of a red flag. For one notable risk is always the economy. It's a community bank, so it depends a lot on the local economy. Ultimately, Uwharrie seems like a fairly typical community bank. They're not going to set the world on fire, but they're also not likely to crash and burn. Thanks for watching. If you found this breakdown helpful, please hit that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe for more corporate deep dives. Let me know in the comments which company I should decode next. See you in the next video.